I got some reactions towards the abortion stuff.
Cool.
You take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
Yep. You can see he's discussing that in a radio show where he's totally okay with, hey, in other words, if the mother gives birth and they go, wow, the kid's fucked up or it's got birth defects or whatever, what do you want to do? The mom can, decide with the doctor. It's like, wow, it's going to be really expensive to raise that kid. And yeah, I don't really want to be a mom to that fucked up child. And the doctor goes, okay. And he goes, snips the spinal cord and kills the child.
Well, and they
make the decision right there.
Wow.
And they harvest the organs.
And, yeah, they harvest the organs. So that, in other words, he's okay with that. If the doctor says, well, the kid's going to be fucked up and the parents don't really, or the mom doesn't want to really raise it, then even though the child's born, it's alive, it's viable, they can kill it right there after it's been born. Mm-mm. So Edgar Casey said that the soul enters the body on or around the time of birth. Our bodies are vessels or containers, as the aliens refer to us, for our souls to come and incarnate in our body and live our life and live out our trauma. See the light. I mean, you look at the Shroud of Turin, it's like when Christ came back to life, it's like that energy came from inside. As he said, it's the spirit that gives life. The flesh counts for nothing. Mm-hmm. That's why he laid his body down. He's like, this is just a vessel. It's a container. In this world, but not of this world.
And when he reincarnated, 3 days, resurrected 3 days after, he resurrected in different bodies. And he would go to his disciples in like a random body. He'll be sitting at the table with them eating. And his disciples would be like, why does this guy seem so familiar? Like, I feel like I have a connection with him. Until they realize it's Jesus. Like, he said he was going to come back, not in his Jesus before
familiar form,
but in a different form. And the minute they realize, poof, he's gone. Just so that they can recognize, like, it's real. But he did, I think he did it like 40 times or something, different bodies, that his soul went around to prove.
Well, that's why I believe in like demons and like demonic possession, because it's like they're just hijacking the vessel. Basically, they're kind of like putting the spirit aside.
Well, he also came to the
envious of bodies.
He also came to the disciples in his original form.
Yeah, he did that too. Yeah.
So, because he was basically saying, this is a container, this is a body.
Yeah.
I'm in this world, but not of this world. My Father's house has many mansions.
Your meat suit.
Your what?
Your meat suit.
Your meat suit. Your meat bag. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Look at the Shroud of Turin. You're like, wow, there's like that. There's an energetic energy coming from the inside, reanimating that life. And then once he was done being back, he poof.
Is that first video what you sent me?
No.
But Edgar Casey also said in 1998, 99, when his light would once again be seen in the skies, meaning the light of Christ, his energy, his consciousness, whatever you want to call it, his vibe, it would reappear. And that would herald the Golden Age. Which they're talking about that. The Golden Age.
Here's another one on the abortion stuff.
Florida's law is very clear. Florida, you have under what the legislature passed, you have abortions allowed up until the point that a fetal heartbeat is detected, but you also have exceptions for rape, incest, human trafficking, and when the child has a fatal fetal abnormality that will prevent him and her from surviving. And you always have the ability for the life and the health of the mothers. And that's just what means if you're somebody that has taken an oath to do no harm and to care for people, of course you're going to do whatever you can to help the mother. That's the primary patient. It would be ridiculous to have a law that did not provide physicians with the ability to treat people and save lives. And so Florida law is very clear. There is nothing in the law that would ever prevent a physician from performing life-saving treatment on a mother or even providing treatment with the physical or the health of the mother as defined appropriately in law. That's just a fact. So if you have somebody that is saying that they would be prohibited from providing any type of necessary health care, just understand they are lying to you. And if they're a physician, they are committing medical malpractice if that's how they're conducting themselves.
Yeah, that amendment failed.
That one failed?
It failed.
Oh,
Because you need, I think it's 60%
because
to
it's a
agree to it.
constitutional amendment.
Yeah, so it got shot down.
And that was since 2006. It wasn't like a recent thing. We've always needed a supermajority.
There is currently a Florida law that bans abortion after 6 weeks, and there is a ballot measure that would reverse that. Where do you stand on the issue?
Well, I think it's got to be longer than 6 weeks, personally. I've done a great job in this for the people. They wanted to get it back in the states. They wanted a vote of the people. All Democrats wanted it. All Republicans wanted it. Everybody. And I'm a believer in the exceptions. That's life of the mother, rape and incest. And I believe strongly that, as Ronald Reagan and others have, and most of the party does. But no, I think it's got to be longer than 6 weeks.
So at the end of the day, that's his opinion. He's the president. He's not the king. So he says, in my opinion, he's being longer than 6 weeks, but the right belongs to the state, so the individual states. So there's 50 states. So all 50 states need to figure out, based upon what their population, what their citizens want to do.
Yeah.
Because some states, like California, is going to have, they're going to want way later, way longer abortions being permissible. But in Florida, we're like, no, we want it shorter. And again, there's 50 states, so there's 50 individual laws, and we're 50 individual countries, and so each country and its citizens get to decide what they want. That's what overturning a Roe versus Wade did, because what Roe versus Wade did was it imposed a federal abortion solution on all 50 countries. And that basically was not constitutional. It was not legal to do that. And even when the justices in the 70s, when they were ruling on Roe versus Wade, they talked about how they were worried that they were making a big mistake. And so it's been overturned because it's a states' rights issue. It's not a federal issue. In other words, the federal government does not have the right to rule on that. Because it belongs to the individual countries of our union.
So no matter what he may think or want, it could
doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
We get to decide in Florida what laws we want. We voted on it. We literally just voted on it in this election. In California, they can vote on it and pass any fucking law they want. When we can disagree with them, it doesn't matter, because California gets to decide what abortion laws they want, just like Florida gets to decide. Whereas before, the way it was, you had an unconstitutional imposition on all 50 countries that the 50 countries didn't vote for.
Mm-hmm.
So the Supreme Court basically enacted a law that in the 70s, Roe versus Wade, that it didn't have the power to enact. And so the Supreme Court decision, what it did was it undid something that was in essence unconstitutional. They just didn't have the power. They didn't have the right. The states do.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
So that's where it belongs. That's what Trump was saying. It's like, he can have his opinion, but it doesn't fucking matter because each country, each state gets to decide.
Right, because God forbid he says like the 8th month rule is okay, and then it's all up to him. Then we would be like, what the heck? Like it would be a riot.
Other people go, I think that's too long.
Yeah.
Like Gavin Newsom, he's like, he doesn't care. So he's going to have the most extreme participation in that law. Mm-hmm. And so we in Florida can sit here and disagree and go, we think that's bullshit. You're murdering a child. But at the end of the day, California is an independent country.
Yeah, it actually brought the choice back to the people.
Yeah, they get to decide. If the people of California think that's cool, it's like, that's great. We can all disagree collectively in Florida. But at the end of the day, we don't have any say in California's affairs.
I'm also trying to say some shit, too, where, if you're in a state that has these extreme abortion laws and you go to another state to get an abortion, they'll prosecute you. It's not true. It's not like if you go to a state, like, say you're in a state that's weed's illegal, you go to a state that weed's legal and you smoke it there, you're not going to get back and they're going to, we're going to arrest you because you smoked weed in another state. That's not going to happen. It doesn't happen. It's fucking nut jobs.
I just think it's kind of messed up because, like, the 9 month, that's just crazy. Like, that's way too long. But 6 weeks, you don't even have time to really
that's why this abortion one failed, because this one was to 9 months.
It was?
This one was to 9 months. That's what,
It wasn't delineated, so you could interpret it however you want. In other words, it doesn't say what the limit is. So you can abort after birth if you want to.
That's why this one failed.
I don't approve of that, but...
So it's propose a different law then.
And it should be done through the laws.
Is it 6 weeks in Florida? I thought it was 12.
It was 15 originally, and then the state legislator, that's where they have to change it. I think it should be around 12.
Me and Caroline were saying that yesterday, that like 12, 13 weeks.
For
that's
the
it.
mother's health and like all the other cases, like those special cases, like
then
the
it can
incest,
surpass.
that's all the way up. Yeah. For mother's health, it's all the way up to birth.
Yeah.
But for just none of those reasons, it's up to 6, which I think it should be like at least 9, because 6 is a little too short to tell.
Yeah.
Personally.
That's only a month and 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you have like
to wait a month to get your period.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's late, and we don't. It's stuff happens with women's bodies.
Yeah.
Stress, anything, and then you get it or you don't get it.
Yeah.
2 months is like reasonable for me.
And that's what we're trying to vote on. I think a law just has to be with those measures, and we can depict that. But before, we never had that choice, Alrighty, I think this session is toast up.